Now, Open, would you please come with me in the flag salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, I can't even hardly talk this morning. You might have to talk more.
Nerves?
No. Something with May, I haven't been able to sleep.
Oh, yeah. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Half over. The first half's always the toughest.
Yes, that'd be down the slide.
That's right.
May 16th, Commissioner meeting, 8 o'clock a.m.
Okay. I know we approved the minutes, no one's from last meeting.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Does that include the minutes of the special meeting as well?
And that also includes the minutes of the special meeting as well.
Thank you.
I need to die again.
I don't think so.
Good morning, Nicole.
Morning, Nicole.
Anything big this morning?
Huh?
I say anything big this morning. I see you brought a great big bag with you.
This is just standard size bag for me.
So she brings a really big bag in trouble.
You know what? I did not this time.
How was your run?
Exhausting.
Did you run too?
I did a Spartan race yesterday at Fort Carson, so I finished it.
Good.
Had
It's
fun?
good. Yeah.
Good weather?
No. It was cold and rainy at the beginning.
Well, that's why I call it a Spartan, I guess.
Exactly.
And that was a 5K, is that right?
It was just under 6 miles. So.
If you guys don't mind, I think I would like to have Shirley, while I was gone to the clerk's meeting, I had Shirley working on these credit cards.
Okay.
And she can, I mean, she's explained it to me, but she has been working more directly, like, with it than I have, because like I say, that's what I asked her to do while I was gone, so I think I'm gonna have her come in. Miss Shirley, do you wanna come in and talk about credit cards? Yeah, I have that information.
Oh, you, okay.
I just explained that you had been working on these while I was off to my meeting and would probably have more knowledge since you worked directly with.
Okay, that's just a duplicate that.
Okay.
And my maid is fair.
Okay.
I called this UMB Bank. Allen County had worked with them, and they were very helpful, which was good. But as far as, well, there's a resolution for you guys to sign, which has to be done. But as far as filling out the application, you need to decide, how you want to build. If you want individual billing, consolidating billing, where all the credit cards would be on one. If you want a rewards program, and there's no charge for that, you can sign up for rewards, which can be either cash rebate or for travel or whatever you can use it for. You need to decide what kind of You already kind of set limits at the last meeting, but you can stipulate what you want charged on each card and what you do not want charged on those cards. So some can be set for lodging and meals, or, you know, someone like the sheriff needs fuel, you can put fuel on their cards. So you just kind of need to decide what each card will require. And I typed this one up with this field blank, and we're also going to need like the last 4 social security numbers for security purposes. Not the entire social security, just the last 4 for each individual card. And if one gets stolen, we can lock one out and the others will still be good. So that won't be a problem. And then if someone retires or leaves employment, then we can just cancel that one card and then reissue. If there's a new employee hired for that position, then we can just get a new one for that at that time. So they were a little more accommodating than the other companies we tried to work with.
On the last 4 digits of the Social Security, I think employees need to realize that if the department head, that's probably going to be the last 4 on their Social Security number. These cards are issued to each department, it's going to be the last 4 of theirs. I don't know. We've given them the county's EIN number and set it up that way, but as you work through that application, it always comes down to what Social Security number is going to be on there. Also, Natalie Stoliker called me after the minutes of the last meeting, and she said, I did not see the district clerk on here, and she was wondering if she could have approval to have a card as well. And I said, well, her department wasn't mentioned last time, but I would certainly bring it to the board's attention.
She's the department head,
Yeah.
so.
I don't see a
Yeah.
problem with it. I didn't see my department in the meeting minutes either.
I thought they were. No?
Well, I got you on here anyway. That's good.
That's the only part that matters to me.
Yeah.
You are on the list.
I don't need to be in the minutes. Thank you.
But this is just an overview of the program and stuff. I printed that off, and then that's the form. So those are the things that you need to discuss and decide upon, and then we can
We all have a copy
do
of
that.
that.
I don't believe so.
I didn't make extra. I can go make extra copies.
Here
if you want
is
me to.
here is a copy of the resolution, and here is Shirley. Is this sheet for each department head?
Additional. That's part of the resolution, is it not?
I believe so.
Okay.
Or is this just the board of commissioners?
I would think it would be the commissioners. Maybe Nicole would have a better idea of the reading.
Does each department head need to sign for their own card, or is that signed for by the board under the county?
Maybe I should
No,
read
this
it.
is just the board.
That's just the board.
This is just the board.
Because they're ultimately the ones approving the cards for these people.
Because I think what that's for is if you're dealing with like a corporation or something where there's like a larger board of people, but
Okay.
this is just the board.
Okay.
So those can be signed, and we'll just, no, it may take another meeting to get all this, because Rodney isn't here, obviously, so, but you know, he can stop on and sign too. And they said it would take maybe about 10 business days to get it, before they actually require that sheet that shows the credit limits of what they want and how many cards we want. It would initially have to be approved before we need to get all this information to them. So we could maybe get some of the application process going before we had to have it completely done. And then
Pull out that sheet that has, we want to add the district clerk on there, and hers would probably be $1,000 like most of the business offices, without the exceptions.
And you can write on that one because I saved it in my documents. So if you decide what you want each one of them to charge, we can, you can just kind of scribble that on that column and I can type it up.
And this is where he needs to sign for this.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Sign which one and we'll get it filled out.
Thank you.
Yep. If you have any other questions,
As far as the policy that Nicole had prepared, I think it really touched base on just about everything that we would be looking at. And I did make a copy for you guys. That sheet there is if you want to make it more specific by department, what is allowable and what isn't. So that as we go through and fill these forms out, we can fill them out very specific by department.
I don't see anything wrong with
But
this.
it's that third column where we need the allowable, what is allowable under those departments, because each department has different needs as to,
Well, yeah, but I mean, like the fuel, if we just say fuel for any county vehicle.
well, I think you need to be very specific on fuel, because if you're traveling by personal vehicle, like I just went to my clerk's meeting, I get mileage reimbursement, so I don't charge fuel.
Exactly, but I said county vehicle,
Oh.
not vehicle.
Oh, excuse me, okay, yes,
Because that's all we pay for. I mean, you know, if they send somebody to Denver, Garden City with a truck to pick up a machine, you don't want to pay $300 for diesel to come
Right.
back, so.
right, and that would be allowable, because he's in a
Yeah,
county vehicle.
exactly.
Mhm. Yeah,
But now Brett took his truck and went down there and then he turned in a bill.
yeah,
Well, he should.
I'd have to push it at this point, but yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, that'd take care of the fuel problem. You know, that's just exclusive for county vehicles only.
You know, like when I went to my conference, most of my meals were paid for in my conference, and so I have no other meals outside of the conference.
Well, that was one thing I was going to bring up when we go to the credit card policy is, initially I had meals listed as allowable purchases, but the way our employee policy handbook is written is that all meals are submitted to the county for reimbursement. So I think probably the better thing to do there is, so we have consistency between the employee policy handbook and this policy, is maybe make meals a non-allowable purchase, with the exception of allowing the sheriff's office to buy meals on transports when they're transporting prisoners. Because I know one thing that we want to avoid doing is from the get-go creating inconsistencies on our policy. So unless the board is going to change the employee policy handbook on meals, I think we should probably put that down to, not an allowable purchase, with the exception of sheriff's office for transports.
And employees, when they travel right now, turn in an itemized ticket. If you stop somewhere, even if you stop at Subway as you're driving down the road, if you just get a receipt and turn it in, it's reimbursable. It shows an itemized list of you were at Subway on this day, this was your meeting, and so I am completely comfortable with that.
Gotta go to the detail. So what do you can charge? I mean, of course, you don't have to go alcohol or anything like that, but everyone else will decide what we can charge.
Well, as far as, I know the credit cards, people were wanting when they have to go online and purchase supplies and things, is there going to be a limit on that, or just whatever is payable under the credit card? I know some subscriptions you have to renew online with a credit card.
I'm sorry, what are we looking at right now?
Shirley had
Under the-
typed up
What may be charged.
Okay, well, isn't that gonna be covered by the policy?
policy.
I-
Okay, so,
Unless, I mean, the board is, because I guess my thought process is, I mean, right now, the list of allowable purchases are pretty narrow, and I can't see how we could narrow that any more per
Okay.
department. I mean, unless the
That's fine.
board is thinking about something in particular.
Well, and anything that they have to spend over $500, they gotta get approved. Anyway,
okay.
I mean, whether they pay for it with card or check or whatever, right?
Yes.
Well, I'd say it's pretty self-explanatory.
Okay, then we'll just go by this guideline. It probably would be good if the board would adopt this policy and procedure to go on file today.
Yeah, could we go through the policy real
Yes.
quick? Okay. And as we go through this, I have this up on my computer, and I've kind of, like, I've changed the meals thing around, so I'll have an updated one. So the first paragraph states that the Board of Commissioners are responsible for approving and/or revoking the privilege of credit cards for each elected official and department head, and setting the limits of each department's credit card. Is there anything that you guys want me to add to that paragraph? I wanted to kind of keep it broad. I mean, basically that states, you know, if a elected or department head wants a credit card, they come and ask you, and you guys have the authority to grant them one, suspend that privilege, and then you set the limits of each card. Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. The second one is county credit cards shall be issued to department heads and elected officials, hereinafter referred to as a card holder. The card holder is responsible for safeguarding the credit card at all time. I was thinking about adding something right after department heads and elected officials upon his or her request. So that way, if there's a department head or an elected official who doesn't want a credit card, it doesn't sound like we're forcing one on them. Any concerns about that? Okay. The county clerk is responsible for obtaining the credit cards, distributing credit cards to the card holders, canceling credit cards. County clerk is further responsible for maintaining a record of all card holders and issuance date of all credit cards. The county clerk shall notify the card holders of changes that affect the department's spending limits and/or status. County clerk shall be responsible for ensuring that each card holder is provided a copy of the county's credit card policy every year. Any concerns about that, or any duties you want to add or take away from the county clerk?
You okay with that? I think it's fine.
Cole, on the second paragraph, there is not a period after time. Did you have another thought that you were going to insert there, or we just need a period there?
Just a second.
On the second paragraph.
Nope, just add that.
Okay.
County credit cards shall be used for county purchases only. County credit cards may be used for the following purchases: lodging, fuel for county vehicles, supplies, and equipment. Any additions, revisions?
Subscriptions, like software subscriptions?
We can add that. I feel like that's covered, but
Is that what you would consider a supply?
I would consider that a supply, but
Okay.
I'll add it. If the board is comfortable with adding it. Okay. Anything else?
I think at that point it's going to cover.
I think that covers pretty
Yeah.
much everything.
If something else comes up, we might have to read.
County credit cards may not be used for the following: personal purchases, to secure cash for returns or cash advances, meals with the exception of meals bought by the sheriff's office during a transport, alcohol, tobacco, hospitality, or entertainment. Good? This is one that I think we will need to talk about a little bit. All receipts for purchases of county credit cards must be turned into the county clerk's office within 3 business days of the purchase or within 3 business days of returning from county-related travel. I had initially had just 3 business days there in an earlier draft, but department heads made a good point that sometimes if they're traveling for a conference, they're not going to be back within 3 business days. Are you comfortable with that? Do you want more or less time? Or are you comfortable with the 3 business days of returning from county-related travel?
I think 3 business days gives anybody enough time to get
Okay.
taken care of, so.
All receipts are to be itemized in detail. Any purchase on a county credit card without proper documentation shall be the cardholder's responsibility to pay. The cardholder shall reimburse the county for any undocumented charges or charges that do not comply with county policies. Such charges may be withheld from the cardholder's wages. Any concerns? Each cardholder is responsible for the use of the credit card by their department. The cardholder is responsible to make sure that any charges are authorized county expenditures and that adequate monies are available within the department's approved budget. I was thinking about adding a sentence there as well that all purchases are subject to the county's other purchasing policies. Specifically as a reference to, it's not like this somehow gets rid of a $500 approval, but then when we actually adopt a more formal purchase policy, at least they'll reference one another. Comfortable with that?
Yeah.
All county purchases are tax exempt. Card holders should provide sales tax exempt certificates to every vendor the department purchases from. When a credit card is lost or stolen, the card holder should contact the county clerk to report the lost stolen card. Contact should be immediate so the highest level of detail regarding account activity leading up to the lost stolen date can be provided. Comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Prior to retirement, termination, separation from duties as department head or elected official, or upon request of the Board of Commissioners, the card holder will surrender the card to the county clerk. I think this is, we could delete this if you want to, since we have clearly easily have the ability to just cancel that card, but it's up to you if you prefer to keep it in there.
I like it in there. I think I agree with you. Maybe there's a little reiteration here, but I like it because it very specifically spells out that if your employment terminates, then your card terminates. I mean, you need to turn
Well, and
it back
the
in.
thing that I kind of liked about that is the next sentence is a card holder will review with the clerk's office the status of any unreconciled, questionable, partially approved, unresolved, and disputed transactions and identify any supplies and or services which have been ordered but not yet received. So appropriate action can be taken to complete these activities. And my thought process was by having them at least come in and turn in the card, that's when that conversation would take place. Any concerns about that paragraph?
Because we will review those cards on a month-to-month basis as that statement comes, and I believe we're going to set it up electronically so that they don't mail us one. That way we'll get it in a very timely fashion. And any outstanding receipts on there, we will be contacting the department head and asking where that receipt is at so that we can get it paid back.
And the last paragraph is consequences of misuse of the credit card is serious and may include card suspension, card revocation, disciplinary action, employment termination, personal financial responsibility for purchases and legal action, failure to follow the above listed responsibilities, and any additional responsibilities that may be listed in this policy and or related procedures may result in the Board of Commissioners disciplining a card holder in any way it deems appropriate. Just kind of wanted to give you guys a broad authority to handle any misuse. Any concerns about the wording of that, or?
I think it sounds good.
Okay. And then the final sentence of that I deleted, and it had just tweaked the above paragraph because the paragraph outlining the county clerk's responsibility, I think, covers the fact that the county clerk will be responsible for turning that over. I ran this through the department heads, and the only feedback I got was on the 3 business days and the sheriff's concern about transport. Otherwise, everyone seemed very supportive about it.
Good.
Is there anything you would like added or anything else you'd like me to consider?
I think it's pretty thorough,
Okay.
so I think we're pretty good.
Deb, I'll email you the revised one.
Okay. And then after these revisions, maybe they can be approved at the next meeting with the final draft.
Because it sounds like, well, we're not going to get credit cards before the next meeting, are we?
Probably not.
Okay.
I mean, we'll go ahead and we'll process based on the decisions made today, but it's still going to be 7 to 10 days out. So that'll be good. That way we can go over it one more time and make sure that everything is in place.
And then I sent Deb language for essentially to create forms that each card holder would review and sign on receiving a card and then upon termination, just so she can track when card holders receive them, and also we'll want to make sure the card holder gets a copy of that form too, because it clearly outlines their duties and responsibilities under the policy.
Thank you, Nicole.
No problem.
Did you have anything else on that?
No.
Okay. Betty, did you have something?
Not at this time.
Okay. Mr. Mock.
Okay.
You can come up or sit there.
Okay.
What do you want to do?
Don't mind. I sent a letter issued to the county attorney. It all started when I attended the meeting a week ago, last Friday night. It was at the 6th, and where the EMS had asked us to come to a meeting, and I felt like when I got there that I didn't know what was going on, frankly. And so I had a lot of questions, and I know Brett is my commissioner, and he asked for feedback, and so that's basically what I did was shared feedback and questions that I had at that meeting as I thought through them and tried to put them on paper. So that's why I'm here.
And I have started to review, we've received some other citizen inquiries on this issue as well. On some of the legal issues, I'm looking into what the actual state requirements actually require. Beyond that, a member of the board, Commissioner Radcliffe, requested that I speak to Reed. So I spoke to Reed and gave him a list of issues and questions that I would like him to further research and fully brief the board on. And I've asked a couple of other department heads to fill in their holes as well. I've asked them to all get answers to all the questions that we've received, not only from you, but other concerned citizens, and be able to respond back at the next commissioners meeting with detailed answers to the board in a public meeting.
Okay. Real fine. Like I say, this isn't a personal thing to me any more than the fact that seems like one of the things that's just absolutely unbearable as far as adding those kind of additions to our tax bill. And I didn't understand how that an employer would come up and say, as a certain date, this is what's going to happen, without it being something that's budgeted and agreed upon. And so those are my concerns. But like I say, I don't have a personal dog in this thing, except it is going to get too expensive to live in Cheyenne County for my wife and me if we don't quit increasing, built-in cost. And I think that's just, it's going to happen to a lot of people, I'm afraid.
We're working on it.
Okay, well that's all I came for, unless you had any questions of me. So.
Did you have any other further questions other than what you had on here?
The only other thing that I had, someone had mentioned about the vehicles, and I just wondered if we sometimes get a little generous on furnishing vehicles that really are not necessary. And I don't know. I've been told that several people have county vehicles at their disposal. That
And yet, to my knowledge, that it shouldn't be a great part of their job, you know.
So are you specifically referencing the amount of vehicles that the EMS department has?
Not specifically them,
Okay.
but there's various things that seem to have a vehicle, you know, allotted to them, and you know, you walk into the EMS barn, and of course there's the Humvee, and that's one of those things that, you know, when you have something given to you, this can't turn it down, except that adds so much cost per year to make sure that it's maintained and what have you. And probably, in my opinion, if I were asked my opinion, I wouldn't have seen the need for it. But that's just one of the many things that I think that we end up doing sometimes with public dollars. We start adding things and adding things and adding things, and pretty soon we have things that we really can't afford. Anything else? And I do thank you, and hope that we can come to a fair solution on all of this.
You need to get a hold of me, you know how to.
I do.
So,
Okay.
let me know. We're looking into all this.
Okay. Real fine.
And hopefully if you can come to the next commissioners meeting, hopefully there will be.
That'll be what day?
It's gonna
2 weeks and
the 31st.
31st. Should be able to.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm gonna call Dave in here.
Do you want to do the correspondence? I just need some signatures, that'll be real quick. This exhibit, that is just the exhibit for the time clock. We had a proposal last time, I sent that back and
This is
said,
for the 20.
for the 799, for the time clock. You had approved the bid last time, this is a formal proposal that they sent. And it just needs a signature.
And this will cover up to 20 apps, correct? You okay with that?
That's pretty standard to me.
Did you ever hear back from department heads about how many apps they thought they might need? Okay.
No. And then I have 2 escape taxes that need your approval.
I thought it was the same thing, then I seen one was 14, one was 15, so
Correct, they're 2 different ones.
I can't charge for the same thing twice.
Right. You okay with that?
Yes, please.
Wouldn't make a motion. Escape tax 062 through 063.
Okay. Putting it 20162.
Okay, 62. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign.
Power of attorney today.
Is that, no one's allowed?
Gina just needed a few minutes too, if Dave's here yet.
Okay, that'll be fine.
Let's Rodney do a patient again.
I think so.
I ain't living right. Back these turtles with ponds and lakes and stuff like that. Didn't I should have just not showed up either.
Yeah. You, Nicole, are you getting a lot of citizens that are giving a question on the EMT?
Is that your registered deeds?
And I thought probably, I mean, the most efficient ways, I've been farming out the legal ones for me to figure out, and then everything else I've been sending to Reed or to whatever department head to be able to get the answer on that. So,
Morning.
Morning.
I don't have much to tell you other than I just wanted to let you know as a kind of courtesy that I'm going to be going to the Register of Deeds seminar. They call it seminar, but it's really our education school that I go to, and that's June 7th through the 10th. So I just wanted to let you know that I'll be out of the office, that Meredith's going to be covering for me. So we're good. It's going to be in Manhattan, and I'm looking forward to going. It has a lot of good information.
Okay.
So I just kind of courtesy that I'll be gone.
Thank you for letting us know. That's what you said, that's in Manhattan.
That is in Manhattan, Kansas, yeah. And so usually a lot of good information comes out of there. So
Good.
any questions for me?
No?
Is that just really kind of courtesy?
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
See you, have a good day.
You too.
Okay, Dave, you're up.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dave.
Morning.
You can't buy nothing today either.
Okay. Maybe I didn't have anything on the agenda. Regular run, one thing was running was the postal digger, radio defense. The two applications to look at, so that's just a reader. I don't really look at it. At my highway official meeting, I did visit with some of the other counties on this railroad, and they give me a number, so I got
good, okay.
a number to call and see what happens or turn it in or whatever, so
Okay, keep me updated.
figure out where we're going with that.
Thank you.
If they tear out that railroad, by the landfill, do we get all that back?
Well, we don't know where we're going with that. So,
Haven't been able to get a hold of anybody.
right, it's in bankruptcy.
Well, I figured it was, but I mean, eventually, if that comes back, then what about our easement?
We should get
We should
all of
get it
that.
back, right?
Correct,
Well, that's not room for another hole if we do.
true. But they're also pushing for rails to trails or bike and hike path. If the state had any money, they'd be pushing that harder, in my opinion. It's a big hit in the eastern part, you know.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that's ahead east, but it ain't here.
That's right.
There just ain't much to see.
I was reading some information from my highway meeting. 5 counties have
over half the population in the state of Kansas. Sounds surprising.
So what's your advice as far as these two applicants?
Or we'll go into executive session and then we'll talk about it. That's all right. 10 minutes.
10 minutes of executive session.
Two different, I also got to talk about number four, so.
Okay.
10 minutes, discuss personnel.
Okay. Okay, all those in,
10 minutes.
all those in